as I would like to note before we start the game, we are having a bit of technical issues with our camera. We will and try to get those sorted out before the game starts, but there's just a quick heads up.
Back to serve now for the Skyhawks. Now the serve again for Salem. Still trying to sort out some of our technical issues. The serve received by the Vikings and spiked, but out, giving Skyhawks another quick point early into this match. Number 19, Marley McCandles in for number 11, Marley Vieja. Correction, number 19, Dixie One. The net received by Caitlin Stalder, spiked, spiked by the Vikings, hard and out for another Skyhawk point. Hard spike for the Vikings. Vikings another point, making it 4-6. Lexi Brown back again. The score 5-6 now. The score 5-6 now. Save for the Vikings. Get it over. Hard spike by Salem Hills. Hard spike by Salem Hills. Sorry about that. More technical issues. 2 points were scored by the Skyhawks, making it 9-6 now for the Vikings. Now by Addie Beck. Now another Viking serve to cut the lead down. Gives the Vikings a point and ties the score at 9 in the first set. Now the serve for the Vikings received over the hands of the Viking blockers. Spike by number 11, Marley Via, sorry. If the Vikings another point, back to the line to serve number 18, Marley McCandles. Hard Skyhawk spike on these rallies by both teams. Now back, serve gets over the net, bounces out for a Viking point off of the same. Almost trouble for both sides there. Caitlin Stalder over. Now a hard spike out by the Skyhawks. They keep almost saying Cyhawk. That is Eddie Beck. Back again for a serve. Spike by the Cyhawk front line. Hard spike again from the Vikings. Blocked the first set. Back from the timeout, the serve for the Vikings. Back for the serve. Full advantage of it and just hit it right back down on the Skyhawk side of the net. Gives the Viking lead by another point. It's the Addie Beck serve received by the Skyhawks. Spike. Salem makes it 17-10 now for the Vikings. Now Addie Beck for another serve. Barely received by the Skyhawks. Hard spike out. And continues to build the Vikings lead 18-10. By Salem, almost got the Vikings. Hard hit by Marley Via as Salem gets it. Viking lead back up to 7, making it. What did I just watch? That was a crazy rally. Is now hard hit by the Vikings. Salem, a block by Salem gives them a point, takes it, turn it around here late in the first set, needing to start the comeback now, down by 8. Vikings needing 5. Dixie Warner will now prepare to serve for the Vikings. Worded that really weird. Another to give the Vikings a point. Makes it 22 by Salem. What a spike as we give you another, continuing to plague them as yet another serve sails over the back line and from number 12, Addie Beck. By 9, needing to start something now to have a chance at winning this set. Hard blocked at the net for the Vikings. Hard as that gives Salem gets the spike received by the Vikings. Gives Salem another point as Salem starting to build off of their momentum. It looks like off of the coach for Salem Hills. Now the Vikings serve needing this point. Gives the Vikings the point as the Vikings will take the first set. Coming back now from the break. Vikings taking the first set, 25-16. Salem really just looking for answers as they were not really able to start getting anything going in that first set after just don't even know the words to put to it. Great play by the Vikings. Up front by Marley Vaya and Tatum Nelson. Now Salem hopefully making some adjustments to try to take by Tatum Nelson at the line for the Vikings. Gives them the first point early in the second. Obviously it's early, it's the first point of the second set. As the Vikings looking to build on their momentum from the first. Another Addie Beck serve. Spiked on the return by Tatum Nelson. Almost saved by Salem. Unable to get it up enough for anybody else to be able to do anything. Falls and gives the Vikings another point. The serve for Addie Beck gets over the net. Quickly in the second set. Off of the front line as out comes Tatum Nelson and back for the serve for the Vikings side and give Salem Hills another point. As now more technical issues continue to plague this broadcast. The Salem serve bounces off of Addie Beck. for a Salem point, tying it now 3-3 for the Skyhawks. Now, the Skyhawks looking to build off of their momentum gained from those last 2 points. Serve barely received by the Vikings. Spiked by Molly Mitchell. Ground, saved by the Vikings. As point Salem Hills, net touch called on the Vikings. Gives Salem their first lead of the second set. To be received by the Vikings makes it great. And going back at the Vikings being able to build more momentum than the Skyhawks as being ultimately what gave them that set, as the Viking hit falls short of the net, giving Salem another point. Now Salem up by 3. The serve received by Addie Beck. Spiked from the Vikings. Spiked again. Same player. Number 17, Lexi Brown. The hit hits the pole and gives the Skyhawk another point. Timeout called by the Vikings. Down by 7-3 in the second set. Out the Skyhawk serve received by the Vikings. Hard spike off of the right side by Marley Vaya, received by the Skyhawks. Hard spike again by the Vikings, lands out, gives Salem Hills another point. As our scoreboard is having issues. I don't know why I said it like that. Scoreboard. Received by Caitlin Stalder. Spike by Marley Vaya, lands out again. An unlucky streak by the Vikings. Out. Now a sub for the Vikings. Marley Vaya coming off, and number 19, Dixie Warner, coming in. As apparently, I didn't see what the call was, but they gave the point to the Vikings instead of the Skyhawks, as hard spike by Salem Hills gives them another point, makes it 9 in this match. Up by 4 in the second set after the Vikings took the first. Hard serve goes off of the arms of number 17, Lexi Brown for the Vikings. Gives Salem another point. Makes it 10-5 as the Salem serve. Now up by 6, 11-5. Gives Salem another point. Vikings a point, cuts the lead in half for the Skyhawks, makes it 12-6. The point makes it 13-6. The serve by Salem lands on the Viking side. Point makes it 14-6 now. Salem threatening to take the second set from the Vikings. Whatever adjustments they made between the sets is clearly So far, 14-7 for the Vikings. Number 7, Molly Mitchell back on the serve for the Vikings. Serve barely clears the net. The point is overturned. Gives the point to the Vikings as on comes Marley Vaya. Dixie Warner for the Vikings. On the serve. Hit by the Skyhawks, goes over the fingertips of Marley Vaya and lands on the hardwood. As now the Skyhawks serve, received by the Vikings, lands, makes it 17-8 in favor of the home team. Brown rather for the Vikings. Spike by Marley Vaya, lands out, point to the Skyhawk. Coming back now from the Viking timeout, the serve for Salem Hills. As Boston is struggling with some of the technical issues that have haunted this broadcast so far. Skyhawks up by 10. Vikings looking to get something started with a hard spike from Molly Mitchell. Gives the Vikings the point as it hit the Skyhawk blocker. Vikings starting to build something now late into the second set. Cut the lead down as something was called on Salem Hills. Formation called on Salem Hills. Gives the Vikings a point, makes it 11-18. The serve by Addie Beck. Spiked by Salem into the net, gives the Vikings another point as Addie Beck's serves so far have really caused Salem Hills some issues as their lead is now down to 6 as the Vikings look to try to come back in this set and potentially win it. Received over the net, almost saved by the Vikings. Addie Beck was not able to get the dive in time, as now Salem knocking on the door of winning it, only needing 6 points to take the second set, up by 7 with the serve. The serve received by the Vikings, down by 6 as Salem unable to get it over the net. Gives the Vikings a point. Timeout called by Salem. Their lead slipping through their fingers. 6, 13-19 in the second set. Caitlin Stalder at the line, one of the best servers in the state last season, starting off hot this season. The serve hard hit by Salem. By Addie Beck. hit. Referees, officials not agreeing with her. Point Salem. Up by 7, 21-14, needing 4 points to win. Maya lands in, gives the Vikings a point, cuts it down to 6, makes it 15-21.
Number 19, Dixie Warner comes to the line for the Vikings serve. Received by the Skyhawks, out to the outside, goes up and out for a Vikings point. Now makes it a difference of 5, 21-16 towards the Skyhawks. Dixie Warner back to the serving line. Hard smacked over, received by the Skyhawks to the left side, blocked by number 18, Marley McCandles, brings them the point after the Skyhawks knock it out of bounds. On the right side, finds the corner, brings a Vikings point off of the hit from that will bring Dixie Warner back to the line for the 4th time. Smacked over, goes to the right side and barely out on the right edge. That makes it 18-22. Vikings trail by 4. Skyhawks with the serve, cannot be received from Lexi Brown, number 17. Digs in, goes to the ground, and brings a Skyhawk point. That one goes down on the back corner, brings a Skyhawk 24-18 in the second set. As I would like to apologize for some connection issues. Going up, Addie Beck, white tap over, cannot be received. That brings Vikings 20, Skyhawks 20.
You're pulling it up on your phone, that's awesome. The Vikings serve received by the Skyhawks. Lands on the Vikings side for a Sky and gives the Skyhawks the second set with a score of 25-20. From the break. Tied at 1 set apiece now. Vikings taking the first to make some adjustments between the sets. The Vikings
is number 5, Eve Scarfer? I'm so sorry. That is
Scherer.
As Eve comes back to the line for the second serve. Received by the Vikings, goes out to the...
Once again, Eve Scherer at the line for the Skyhawks. It's the serve over the net, but up and out, gives the Vikings their first point of the set. It's now number 7, Molly Mitchell, back to serve for the Vikings. As on for the Vikings.
Dixie won.
For the Vikings, Boston forgot he wasn't muted. As the serve received by the Skyhawks. Hit over Rihu. Brings number 10. Received by the Vikings. Hard McCandles. As now the Vikings cutting into the lead, making it 3-4. Brown back to serve for the Vikings. Received by the Skyhawks. Hit by Tatum Nelson. Back down, tying the score for the Vikings, making it 4-4. For the Vikings. Lexi Brown to serve again after the ace. Vikings hit hard by number 12, Addie Beck. Caitlin Stalder back to serve for the Vikings. Mike off of the receive. Serve received by the Skyhawks. Spike received by the Vikings. Dumped over by, I just blanked on her name. Received by the Skyhawks, miscommunication. And serve hit over for the Skyhawks. Hard spike, lands out. Off of the Vikings, gives Salem Hills a second point. Brielle Hoffins for the Skyhawks. Point Vikings, hit. Attempt unsuccessful, giving the Vikings another point, making it 4-10. Beck sails out of bounds for a Skyhawk point, making it 7-10 now. Serve gets over the net, received by Addie Beck, who hits a spike. Now hard hit by Marley Vaya, tipped by the blockers and received by Salem Hills. As both teams continuing to receive spikes, one finally landing for the Vikings, giving them. As we give you another look. Oh, I was wrong. We do not give you another look at that play. Attempted by the Skyhawks, does not get over the net. Point to the Vikings, making it 12-8. Addie Beck to serve again for the Vikings. Back comes number 5, Eve Scherer for the Skyhawks to serve. On the spike, giving the Vikings a point, building the lead back out to 4. As back to serve for the Vikings, number 7, Molly Mitchell. It's the serve over the net, barely. Hard spike by the Skyhawks, blocked by number 11, Marley Vaya. at number 44, Tatum Nelson for the Vikings. Makes it 14-9. As Molly Mitchell goes back again to serve. It's it over the net. Gives the Skyhawks a point, makes it 14-10. For the Vikings comes Dixie Warner. For the Vikings comes Dixie Warner to serve. Received by the Vikings, sails out of bounds. Gives the Skyhawks 13. The Skyhawks serve, trying to cut down the lead even further. Hard. Now the Addie Beck serve, received by the Skyhawks. Hit, bounces into the net, received by Caitlin Stalder. Hard spike received by the Skyhawks, right to Tatum. It right back down on the Skyhawks side of the net, giving the Vikings a 6-point lead. Received by the Skyhawks, almost ending in a Viking point. Marley McCandles dumping it over. 21-13 in the third set. To get something going here before the Vikings take the third set. The serve from Tatum Nelson gets the ace and gives the Vikings a 9-point lead. 20. And gives the Vikings another point, making it 24-14. The third set. And Salem Hills looking to try to anything to stop the Vikings from winning this set, to keep them the Vikings from winning this set, to keep them second game of region play. Second game of region play. Looking to hopefully repeat. Looking to hopefully repeat. As at where a Salem Hills player got to it but couldn't get enough under it to keep it live and to keep it going. About something. Not sure what happened there. Are checking the eligibility of one of the players. As that gets resolved, Addie Beck to received by the Skyhawks. Hard spike received by Caitlin Stalder. Hard spike for the Vikings by number 7. Fourth set to win the match. Received by the Skyhawks. Spike hits the net. Diving save by Caitlin. Hard spike again by Marley Vaya. Gives the Vikings a 3rd point. Serve to the Vikings, down by 1. Serve gets over. Now a substitution by the Vikings. Number 19, Dixie Warner for Marley Vaya after a couple of hards received by the Skyhawks. Hard hit, bounces off of number 12, Addie Beck. Gives the Skyhawks another point, making the score 3-4. Back to serve for hit by Addie Beck for the Vikings. The spike hits Caitlin Stalder on Hawks a point and the lead in the 4th set for the first time. The Addie Robbins serve unable to be received by the Vikings for a Sky. Looking to try to win this set to pull even with the Vikings and force a 5th to decide it all. The serve unable to be received by serve. Ella Robbins serve rather. Bounces around for number 1 Addie Pace. The serve received by the Vikings, blocked twice. The Vikings barely able to be received by the Skyhawks. Bounces over, miscommunication. Now the serve by number 3 Brielle Hoffins for the Skyhawks, received by the Vikings. Received by the Skyhawks. Hard hit from the Skyhawks, hits the net, falls short, and gives the Vikings a point, making it. Caitlin Stalder back at the line, trying to at least tie the game up. Down by 2, looking to tie or take the lead soon. Looking to tie the game here for the Vikings. It's the serve over the net, barely received by the Skyhawks. Hard hit right into the Viking blockers. Quick spot. Both teams going back and forth on this rally. Hard hit. The Vikings, tying the game for the Vikings, making it 9-10. The serve by Caitlin Stalder. Skyhawks, weird set. Goes over the Viking hands on the spike, lands on their side, and gives the Skyhawks a point. Warner, oncoming Marley Vaya. Via? For the Viking. Set back by Caitlin Stalder, hit hard by Addie Beck, blocked by Addie Beck at the net. 10-10 and a point for the Vikings. Back to serve for the Vikings. Charlie Daly. Correction. Number 18, Marley McCandles for the Vikings. The spike sails up and out, gives the Skyhawks a point. Makes it 11-10 for the Skyhawks. A hard spike received by the Skyhawks. Lands on the Viking side for another Skyhawk point. Serve barely getting over the net. Hard hit. Them a point. Back again, Eve Schrerer for the Skyhawks. Keep almost calling each team the wrong name. Serve one to win the whole thing. Back from the Viking timeout, back to serve for the Skyhawks. Number 3, Brielle Hoffins gets the serve over. Hard spike from the Vikings. Hard spike from the Skyhawks, lands in, gives the Skyhawks another point and builds the lead 16-11. Correction, to serve for the Skyhawks is number 5, Eve Scherer. By 5. Needing to win this one to keep the game going. That is a great way for that to go for the Skyhawks, off of the arms of Caitlin Stalder and into the stands, making it 17-11 for the Skyhawks. The serve gets over the net, received by Caitlin Stalder, set by Marley Via. Hard hit, lands in and touched by the Skyhawk blockers. Gives the Vikings a point, makes it 12-17 for the Vikings. Who's now back for the serve, number 7, Molly Mitchell for the Vikings. It's the serve over the net. Hard spike by the Skyhawks, lands in, makes it 4th set. Skyhawks needing every point they can get right now to win the set and have a chance to win the match. Now the Skyhawks serve. It's over the net, received by the Vikings. Almost hits the ceiling on the set from Marley Via. Bounces off of a pair of Skyhawks and out of bounds for a Viking point. Substitution for the Vikings, off-going Marley Via and oncoming number 19, Dixie Warner. As now Dixie Warner back to serve for the Vikings. Down by 5. Formation called on the Skyhawks gives the Vikings a point and sends Dixie Warner back to the line to serve for the Vikings. As the officials explaining something to the Salem Hillside on the Dixie Warner serve, down by 4. Received by the Skyhawks. Hard spike, lands in for a Skyhawk point. For the Skyhawks, number 10, Ella Robbins. Correction. Ball sails up and out. It looked like a miscommunication on the serve receive for the Vikings. The ball lands out, giving the Vikings a point, cutting the lead back down to 4 for the Skyhawks. Back to serve for the Vikings. Lexi Brown, received by the Skyhawks. As miscommunication on the spike, ball goes into the stands off of Salem Hills. Gives the Vikings a point and cuts the lead down to 3. Vikings needing to win this set to win the whole thing right now. Down by 3. Serve received by the Skyhawks, unable to be returned. makes the score 17-19 for the Vikings. As a timeout is called by the Skyhawks. Their lead dwindling down to just 2, 19-17 in the fourth set. Back now from the Skyhawk timeout. Obviously some changes being made. Needing 6 points to win to keep the match alive. Dixie Warner and Marley McCandles playing for the Vikings at an incredibly high level, both being just sophomores. Vikings looking to develop them as they continue their high school careers through this season and the next two. Hard hit by Tatum Nelson, sails up and out, gives the Skyhawks a point, makes it 20-17 for the home squad. As back to serve for the Skyhawks, number 3, Brielle Hoffins, who I mentioned Dixie Warner and Marley McCandles earlier. Brielle Hoffins for the Skyhawks playing as just a freshman and playing at a pretty high level. Both teams with some bright futures on the horizon in those 3 players. As the Caitlin Stalder serve received by the Skyhawks, set almost sails out of bounds, barely returned by the Skyhawks. Hard hit by number 7, Marley Mitchell, received by the Skyhawks, hit over. Hard hit by number 12, Addie Beck for the Vikings. For the Vikings, she's been incredible last season and to start this season as the spike bounces off of the Vikings onto the Skyhawk side. Returned on the receive by the Skyhawks. The Stalder serve returned by the Skyhawks. Spike blocked at the net rather. Gives the Skyhawks a lead by 1, 21-20. On comes number 11, Kate Keisel for the Skyhawks. Number 6, Braylee Gamble to serve. Looking to put this thing away, needing only 4 points to take the set. Hard spike, barely received by the Vikings. Hard spike of their own, lands in, gives the Vikings a point, ties it up at 21 apiece. Both sides being 4 points away as on comes Marley Vaya, replacing Dixie Warner for the Vikings. With Marley McCandles, the sophomore, back to serve for the Vikings. Received by the Skyhawks. Set by Marley Vieja on the return. Hard spike. Lands out, gives the Vikings a point and the lead 21-22. Vikings needing 3 points to take the set and the match. Skyhawks needing 4 to keep the match alive. The serve by Marley McCandles received by the Skyhawks, blocked on the spike. Skyhawks recover and get it over. Hard spike, lands out on the block, gives the Vikings a point and makes it 23-21. If you're the Vikings, you can practically smell victory right now. Marley McCandles has been almost as good as Caitlin Stalder right on her heels for one of the best servers in the state to start the season, as the dump down by the Vikings brings them within 1 point from winning the whole thing. Dump down from Addie Peck sends Marley McCandles back to the line to win it for the Vikings. Skyhawks needing to score 4 unanswered. Ball sails out, and it is game, set, and match for the Vikings, winning it in 4, 3-1 in Salem Hills. Winning the first 25-16, losing the second 25-20, winning the third 25-14, and winning the fourth 25-21. Both teams going back and forth, both showing real signs of promise throughout the match. The Vikings picking up their second win in I keep calling it conference play. I'm thinking of college level sports. Picking up their second win in region and their third win on the season this year, with a 3-1 win, facing Maple Mountain on the road as their next game Tuesday at 6:30. After beating Springville 3-0 last Thursday, going 2-5 overall. Now 3-5 and 2-0 in region. As I have been Coleman Keel, joined with
Boston Harding.
And we will see you next Tuesday for more Pleasant Grove volleyball here on Pleasant Grove Sports Network.